Chosen ones, on September 25th, God is calling you to stay silent, to hold your tongue, and let His divine plan unfold without a single word from you. This is not a random moment, it's a sacred instruction, a moment where your silence becomes a weapon of faith, a shield of trust, and a doorway to miracles you cannot yet see. God is moving in ways that defy explanation, and your stillness is the key to unlocking what He has prepared. Something extraordinary is about to happen, and it begins with your obedience to this divine command. Are you ready to trust Him completely? Pause now, hit that like button, and comment 777 below to declare your faith in God's perfect timing. This number carries the power of divine completion, signaling to the universe that you're aligned with His will. Silence is not weakness, it's a sacred act of surrender. On September 25th, God is asking you to step back from the noise of the world, to quiet the chatter in your mind, and to let His voice be the only one that guides you. The world will tempt you to speak, to react, to defend yourself, to prove your worth. But God says, be still. Your silence is not about hiding, it's about trusting that He is fighting your battles. Think of Moses standing before the Red Sea, the Egyptian army closing in, his people panicking. He didn't shout or argue. He stood silent, trusting God's promise, and the sea parted. That same power is at work in you. When you hold your peace, you create space for God to move mountains. Your silence is a testimony that you believe His plan is greater than any words you could speak. Comment 777 now to affirm that you're ready to let God take control. This call to silence is a divine strategy. On September 25th, the heavens are aligning to shift your life in ways you cannot imagine. Words carry weight, and one careless phrase could disrupt the delicate balance of what God is orchestrating. Think of Esther, who waited in silence before approaching King, timing her words with divine precision. Her restraint saved a nation. Your silence on this day is not about fear, it's about wisdom. It's about trusting that God sees what you cannot, that He's weaving a tapestry of favor, protection, and breakthrough. By staying silent, you're handing Him the reins, allowing His will to unfold without interference. You're not just a bystander, you're a chosen vessel, and your obedience is rewriting your future. If this resonates, join thousands of chosen one souls by subscribing now, and let's walk this path of faith together. The enemy expects you to react. On September 25th, the forces that oppose you, doubt, fear, chaos, will try to provoke you. They'll whisper lies, stir conflict, push you to speak out. But God says, do not react. Your silence is your strength, a wall the enemy cannot breach. Look at Jesus before Pilate, accused and mocked, yet He stood silent. His quiet presence spoke louder than any defense, and it shook the foundations of darkness. Your silence will do the same. It's a signal to the spiritual realm that you're not moved by what you see, that your trust is anchored in God alone. When you refuse to speak, you refuse to give power to the enemy's schemes. Instead, you amplify God's authority in your life. Pause and comment 777 to claim this truth, letting the heavens know you're standing firm. This silence is a preparation for abundance. On September 25th, God is setting the stage for blessings that will overflow, financial breakthroughs, restored relationships, renewed health. But these gifts require a heart ready to receive, a spirit uncluttered by words of doubt or haste. Silence cleanses your soul, making room for His miracles. Think of Hannah, who prayed silently in the temple, her lips moving but no sound escaping. Her quiet faith brought forth Samuel, a prophet who changed history. Your silence is a sacred space where God plants seeds of destiny. About suppressing your voice. It's about amplifying His. By staying silent, you're aligning with His rhythm, trusting that what's coming is greater than what you could ask for. If you feel this truth stirring, comment 777 one last time to seal your commitment to God's plan. On this day, your silence is a mirror reflecting God's glory. The world is loud, full of opinions, arguments, distractions. But you, chosen one, are called to stand apart. Your quiet trust will shine brighter than any noise around you. Picture Daniel in the lion's den, silent amidst the roars, his faith unwavering. God shut the mouths of lions because Daniel trusted without speaking. On September 25th, your silence will shut the mouths of your adversaries, seen and unseen. It's not about what you say, it's about what you believe. Your faith, expressed through stillness, becomes a beacon, drawing divine favor. Others will see your peace and wonder at the power within you. They'll sense God's hand, even if they can't name it. Your silence is a testimony, a living proof that God is working. This divine instruction is personal. God isn't speaking to the crowd, He's speaking to you. On September 25th, your silence is a covenant, a sacred agreement between you and the Creator. It's a moment where you say, I trust you, God, more than my own voice. Think of Abraham, silent as he climbed Mount Moriah, trusting God's promise even when it seemed impossible. His obedience opened the door to a legacy that still blesses the world. Your silence on this day is an act of worship, a declaration that you believe God's plan is unfolding perfectly. You're not just waiting, you're actively participating in His miracle by holding your peace. This is your moment to step into a new chapter where silence becomes the foundation for divine transformation. The power of your silence will ripple beyond September 25th. This one day of obedience will set in motion a chain of events that reshapes your life. God is using your stillness to align opportunities, to open doors no one can shut, to bring people into your path who will carry His favor. Your silence is like a seed planted in fertile soil, destined to grow into a harvest of blessings. Think of Noah, who built the ark in silence, enduring years of mockery without defending himself. His obedience saved his family and changed the world. Your silence is building something eternal, something that will outlast the noise of this moment. Trust that God is working, even when you can't see it. Subscribe now to join thousands of chosen one souls walking this journey of faith. On September 25th, your silence is a weapon against chaos. The world thrives on distraction, pulling you into arguments, fears, and doubts. But God is calling you to rise above. Your stillness is a rebellion against the enemy's plans, a refusal to be drawn into battles that aren't yours. Picture David before Goliath, not shouting threats but standing calm, trusting God's strength. His silence in the face of a giant spoke louder than any war cry. Your quiet faith will do the same, dismantling obstacles with divine precision. When you choose silence, you're choosing God's authority over the world's noise. You're declaring that His plan is greater, His power unmatched. This is your moment to show the world what it means to be chosen. Your silence is a gateway to clarity. On September 25th, as you hold your tongue, God will speak to your heart with a precision you've never known. The noise of the world clouds your vision, but silence opens your spirit to His voice. Think of Elijah, who didn't find God in the wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a still, small voice. Your silence invites that same voice into your life, revealing truths about your purpose, your path, your destiny. You'll see solutions where there were problems, opportunities where there were barriers. This clarity isn't just for you. It's a light that will guide others. Your silence will inspire those around you to seek God's voice, to trust His timing, to walk in faith. This day is a turning point. On September 25th, your silence marks the end of one season and the beginning of another. God is closing doors that no longer serve you and opening gates to a future filled with His promises. Your obedience in staying silent is a key that unlocks divine favor, setting you on a path where miracles become your reality. Think of Joseph, silent in the prison, trusting God's plan despite years of injustice. His silence led to a palace where he fulfilled his divine purpose. Your silence will lead you to your own palace, a place of purpose, abundance, and joy. This is not a moment to fear. It's a moment to embrace with unwavering faith. Silence is your strength because it reflects your trust in God's sovereignty. On September 25th, every moment you choose not to speak is a moment you choose to let God work. The world will push you to react, to argue, to prove yourself. But God says, "I've got this." Your silence is a declaration that you don't need to defend yourself because God is your defender. Think of Job, who faced unimaginable loss yet held his peace before God, trusting despite the pain. His silence led to restoration beyond what he lost. Your silence will lead to restoration, to relationships healed, finances restored, dreams reborn. This is your moment to stand firm in faith, knowing God is moving. On this sacred day, your silence is a magnet for divine connections. God is bringing people into your life who will recognize your light, who will align with your purpose, who will carry His favor. Your stillness creates space for these encounters, allowing God to orchestrate meetings that will change your trajectory. Think of Ruth, silently gleaning in Boaz's field, her quiet obedience positioning her for a divine connection that altered her destiny. On September 25th, your silence positions you for similar connections. People who see your faith, who honor your calling, who will walk with you into God's promises. Trust that these moments are not random, they're divinely appointed. Your silence is a shield against the enemy's lies. On September 25th, the devil will try to provoke you, to make you doubt God's plan, to push you into speaking words of fear or anger. But your silence disarms him. It's a refusal to engage in his games, a declaration that his lies have no power over you. Picture Paul and Silas, silent in their prison cell, not cursing their chains, but praising God in stillness. Their faith unleashed an earthquake that broke their bonds. Your silence will unleash divine power, breaking chains you didn't even know were holding you. This is your moment to stand unshaken, trusting God's truth over the enemy's noise. On September 25th, your silence is a prayer. It's a conversation with God that doesn't need words, a communion where your heart speaks louder than your voice. When you hold your tongue, you're telling God, "I trust you to speak for me." Think of Mary, silent as she pondered the angel's words in her heart, trusting God's promise to bring forth the Savior. Her quiet faith changed the world. Your silence will change your world too. It's a sacred offering, a moment where you lay down your need to control and let God take the lead. This act of faith will draw you closer to Him, deepening your connection to His purpose. This day is a divine reset. On September 25th, your silence clears the clutter of the past, regrets, mistakes, words spoken in haste. God is wiping the slate clean, preparing you for a new season of growth and abundance. Your stillness allows him to rewrite your story, to align your path with his perfect plan. Think of Peter, who denied Jesus but stood silent as he was restored, his past failures transformed into a foundation for his calling. Your silence will transform your past too, turning pain into purpose, loss into legacy. This is your moment to let go and let God redefine your future. Your silence is a beacon of hope. On September 25th, as you choose to stay quiet, you're showing the world what it means to trust God completely. Your peace in the midst of chaos will inspire others, drawing them to seek the same faith that sustains you. Think of Noah's wife, silent as she stepped onto the ark, trusting God's promise despite the world's ridicule. Her faith saved her family. Your silence will save those around you, not through words but through the testimony of your trust. People will see your stillness and feel God's presence, wondering at the power that keeps you steady. On this day, your silence is a seed of transformation. God is planting something new in your life. Dreams, opportunities, blessings that will grow into a harvest beyond your imagination. Your stillness is the fertile ground where these seeds take root. Think of the prophet Samuel, silent as a boy, listening for God's voice in the night. His obedience to that call shaped a nation. On September 25th, your silence is your obedience, preparing you for a calling that will shape your destiny. Trust that every moment you stay quiet is a moment God is working to bring forth something eternal. Your silence is a declaration of victory. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're proclaiming that the battle is already won. God has gone before you, fighting what you cannot see, securing what you cannot yet touch. Think of Joshua, silent as he marched around Jericho, trusting God's promise that the walls would fall. His obedience brought victory without a single word of defiance. Your silence will bring down walls, two barriers of doubt, fear, and limitation. This is your moment to claim God's victory, to stand in the assurance that He has already overcome. On this sacred day, your silence is a bridge to divine wisdom. When you quiet your voice, you open your spirit to hear God's guidance with unmatched clarity. The world's noise drowns out His truth, but your stillness amplifies it. Think of John the Baptist, silent in the wilderness, preparing his heart to proclaim God's kingdom. His solitude shaped his purpose. On September 25th, your silence will shape yours too. God will speak to you about your next steps, your purpose, your calling. This is not a moment to fear silence, but to embrace it as a divine gift, a space where wisdom flows freely. Your silence is a magnet for miracles. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, you're creating room for God's power to manifest. The world expects you to act, to speak, to fight, but God works in the unexpected. Think of Lazarus, silent in the tomb, while Jesus called him forth. Your stillness is like Lazarus's tomb, a place where God's voice brings life to what seemed dead. Your silence will call forth miracles, financial breakthroughs, healed relationships, restored dreams. Trust that God is moving, even when you can't see it. Subscribe now to join thousands of chosen one souls standing in faith for His promises. On this day, your silence is a testimony of trust. The world measures strength by words and actions, but God measures it by faith. Your stillness shows that you believe He is enough. Think of the woman with the issue of blood, silent as she reached for Jesus' garment, her faith speaking louder than any cry. Her touch brought healing. On September 25th, your silence is your touch, your faith reaching out to God's power. This act of trust will draw His favor, aligning your life with His divine plan. Your stillness is a statement that God's promises are true. your silence is a rebellion against fear. On September 25th, the enemy will try to make you doubt, to push you into speaking words of anxiety or anger. But your silence is a refusal to give in. It's a declaration that fear has no hold on you. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, silent before the fiery furnace, trusting God's deliverance. Their faith silenced the king's threats and revealed God's power. Your silence will do the same, silencing the lies that try to steal your peace. This is your moment to stand firm, to show the enemy that your trust in God is unshakable. On this sacred day, your silence is a preparation for elevation. God is lifting you to a new level spiritually, emotionally, financially. Your stillness is the foundation for this rise, a moment where you let go of the old to embrace the new. Think of Elisha, silent as he followed Elijah, trusting God's call to a greater anointing. On September 25th, your silence is your pursuit, positioning you for a divine promotion. God is preparing you for a season of influence where your life will testify to His goodness. This is your moment to trust His process, to believe in His elevation. Your silence is a gateway to peace. On September 25th, as you hold your tongue, you'll find a calm that surpasses understanding. The world's chaos cannot touch you when you're anchored in God's presence. Think of Jesus, silent as He slept through the storm, trusting God's protection. His peace calmed the waves. Your silence will calm the storms in your life, bringing clarity and rest. This is not just a day of restraint, it's a day of renewal, where your stillness restores your soul. Trust that God is using this moment to fill you with His unshakable peace. On this day, your silence is a weapon of discernment. The enemy thrives on confusion, but your stillness sharpens your spiritual vision. By not speaking, you're tuning out the world's lies and tuning into God's truth. Think of Nehemiah, silent as he surveyed Jerusalem's ruins, discerning God's plan for rebuilding. On September 25th, your silence will reveal God's blueprint for your life, showing you what to build and what to leave behind. This clarity will guide your steps, ensure you walk in His purpose. Your stillness is a tool for divine insight, cutting through the noise to reveal His path. Your silence is a declaration of dependence on God. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're saying, God, you are my source. The world tells you to fight for yourself, but God says, let me fight for you. Think of Gideon, silent as he reduced his army, trusting God's strength over numbers. His obedience brought victory. Your silence will bring victory too, as you rely on God's power instead of your own. This is your moment to lean into Him, to trust that His plan is unfolding perfectly, even when you can't see it. On this sacred day, your silence is a seed for legacy. God is using your obedience to plant something eternal, something that will bless generations. Your stillness is not just for you, it's for those who will come after you. Think of Abraham's wife, Sarah, silent as she trusted God's promise of a child, her faith birthing a nation. On September 25th, your silence is birthing something greater, a legacy of faith, abundance, and purpose. This is your moment to trust that your obedience is building something that will outlast you, a testimony to God's faithfulness. Your silence is a shield against distraction. On September 25th, the world will try to pull you into its chaos, arguments, worries, demands, but your stillness keeps you focused on God's plan. Think of Mary Magdalene, silent at the tomb, her focus on Jesus leading to the revelation of His resurrection. Your silence will lead to revelation too, keeping your eyes fixed on God's promises. This is not a day to be swayed by the world's noise, but to stand firm in his truth. Your stillness is a boundary, protecting your heart from anything that would steal your peace. On this day, your silence is a celebration of faith. By choosing not to speak, you're praising God with your trust, declaring that his word is enough. Think of Zechariah, silent after doubting the angel's promise, his stillness becoming a testimony to God's faithfulness when his son was born. On September 25th, your silence is your worship, a song of faith that echoes in the heavens. This act of obedience will draw God's favor, aligning your life with his divine rhythm. Trust that your stillness is a melody of trust, resonating with his promises. Your silence is a catalyst for transformation. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, God is reshaping your life from the inside out. Your stillness allows him to renew your mind, restore your heart, and redirect your path. Think of Jonah, silent in the belly of the fish, his obedience leading to a revival in Nineveh. Your silence will spark revival, too, not just in you, but in those around you. This is your moment to trust that God is using your stillness to create something new, something extraordinary. Your obedience is the spark that ignites his divine plan. On this sacred day, your silence is a magnet for divine provision. God is ready to pour out blessings, financial, emotional, spiritual, but your stillness creates the space for them to flow. Think of the widow who silently followed Elisha's instructions, her jars filled with oil that sustained her family. On September 25th, your silence will fill your life with God's provision, meeting needs you didn't know how to express. This is not a day to speak your worries, but to trust his supply. Your stillness is a vessel, ready to receive his overflow. Your silence is a testimony of resilience. On September 25th, by choosing not to react, you're showing the world that you've been through the fire and come out stronger. Think of Job's wife, silent amidst her suffering, her faith a quiet testimony to God's restoration. Your silence will testify to your strength, proving that no trial can break you. This is your moment to stand tall, to show that your trust in God has carried you through every storm. Your stillness is a story of victory, written by God's hand. On this day, your silence is a bridge to divine alignment. God is positioning you for his perfect plan, and your stillness ensures you don't miss his timing. Think of Elizabeth, silent in her pregnancy, trusting God's promise until John was born. On September 25th, your silence aligns you with God's rhythm, placing you exactly where you need to be. This is not a day to rush or force outcomes, but to trust his divine order. Your stillness is a step toward destiny, ensuring every move you make is guided by his hand. Your silence is a weapon of peace. On September 25th, as you hold your tongue, you're disarming the chaos that seeks to derail you. The world wants you to react, to engage in its battles, but your stillness declares that God's peace is your strength. Think of Stephen, silent before his accusers, his faith shining brighter than their lies. Your silence will shine too, reflecting God's calm in the midst of the storm. This is your moment to trust that his peace is enough, that his power is working through your stillness. On this sacred day, your silence is a declaration of surrender. You're not giving up. You're giving over to God's plan. By not speaking, you're saying, God, your will is greater than mine. Think of Jesus in the garden, silent before his Father, trusting the path to the cross. On September 25th, your silence is your garden moment, a surrender that leads to resurrection. This is not a day to fight for control, but to release it, trusting that God's plan is unfolding perfectly. Your stillness is a sacred act, a moment where heaven moves on your behalf. Your silence is a seed for miracles. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, you're planting faith that will bloom into divine breakthroughs. Think of the centurion, silent in his trust, believing Jesus' word alone could heal his servant. His faith moved mountains. Your silence will move mountains, too, creating space for God to work wonders. This is your moment. To trust that every quiet moment is a step toward the impossible becoming reality. Your stillness is a canvas ready for God to paint his masterpiece. On this day, your silence is a testimony of God's faithfulness. By choosing not to speak, you're declaring that you trust his promises, even when the world doubts. Think of Rahab, silent as she hid the spies, her faith securing her family's future. On September 25th, your silence secures your future too, anchoring you in God's unchanging truth. This is not a day to waver, but to stand firm, knowing that God's word never fails. Your stillness is a banner, proclaiming his victory over your life. Your silence is a magnet for divine revelation. On September 25th, as you quiet your voice, God will unveil truths that reshape your understanding. The noise of the world blinds you, but stillness opens your eyes. Think of Paul, silent on the road to Damascus, his encounter with God changing his life forever. Your silence will bring encounters, two moments where God speaks directly to your heart. This is your moment to listen, to receive, to let his truth guide your path. Your stillness is a doorway to divine insight, ready to transform your perspective. On this sacred day, your silence is a shield against temptation. The enemy will try to lure you into speaking, to trap you with words of doubt or pride. But your stillness keeps you safe, rooted in God's strength. Think of Jesus, silent in the wilderness, resisting Satan's temptations with unwavering faith. On September 25th, your silence is your resistance, a refusal to let the enemy's lies take hold. This is your moment to trust that God's power is greater than any temptation. Your stillness is a fortress, protecting your heart from harm. Your silence is a celebration of God's timing. On September 25th, by holding your peace, you're trusting that God's plan is unfolding at this perfect moment. Think of Simeon, silent in his waiting, trusting God's promise of the Messiah. His faith was rewarded with a divine encounter. Your silence will be rewarded too, with blessings timed by God's hand. This is not a day to rush, but to rest, knowing that his timing is flawless. Your stillness is a dance with his rhythm, aligning you with his perfect plan. On this day, your silence is a seed for restoration. God is healing what's been broken, your heart, your dreams, your relationships. Your stillness creates space for his touch. Think of the prodigal son, silent as he returned home, his humility opening the door to his father's embrace. On September 25th, your silence is your return, a step toward God's restoration. This is your moment to trust that he's mending every wound, rebuilding every dream. Your stillness is a foundation, ready for his rebuilding work. Your silence is a testimony of strength. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're showing the world that true power lies in faith, not words. Think of Esther's silence before her moment of courage, her trust in God saving her people. Your silence will save too, protecting you from battles that aren't yours. This is your moment to stand strong, to let your faith speak louder than any voice. Your stillness is a crown, marking you as God's chosen, unshaken by the world's noise. On this sacred day, your silence is a bridge to divine purpose. God is guiding you to your calling, and your stillness ensures you don't miss his voice. Think of Jeremiah, silent as God called him to prophesy, His obedience shaping a nation. On September 25th, your silence is your preparation, aligning you with your divine assignment. This is not a day to speak your plans, but to hear God's. Your stillness is a compass, pointing you to the path He's prepared. Your silence is a weapon against doubt. On September 25th, the enemy will try to make you question God's plan, but your stillness declares your trust. Think of Thomas, silent after seeing Jesus' wounds, his doubts replaced with faith. Your silence will replace doubt with certainty too, anchoring you in God's truth. This is your moment to reject fear and embrace His promises. Your stillness is a shield, deflecting every lie that tries to steal your hope. On this day, your silence is a magnet for divine favor. God is pouring out blessings, and your stillness positions you to receive them fully. Think of Cornelius, silent in his prayers, his faith drawing an angel to his door. On September 25th, your silence will draw heaven's attention, opening doors of opportunity and provision. This is your moment to trust that God's favor is flowing toward you. Your stillness is a vessel, ready to catch every drop of His goodness. Your silence is a declaration of victory over chaos. On September 25th, by holding your peace, you're proclaiming that God's order reigns in your life. Think of the Israelites, silent as they crossed the Red Sea, their trust in God defeating Pharaoh's army. Your silence will defeat your enemies too, aligning you with God's triumph. This is your moment to stand firm, to let His power overcome every obstacle. Your stillness is a banner, waving in the face of chaos, declaring God's sovereignty. On this sacred day, your silence is a seed for divine connections. God is bringing people into your life who will uplift you, support you, and walk with you in His purpose. Your stillness creates space for these divine appointments. Think of Jonathan, silent in his loyalty to David, his faith forging a bond that changed history. On September 25th, your silence will forge bonds too, drawing the right people at the right time. This is your moment to trust that God is orchestrating every relationship. Your stillness is a magnet, pulling His plan into place. Your silence is a testimony of God's presence. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're letting God's light shine through you. The world will see your peace and know that He is with you. Think of Mary, silent at the cross, her faith a beacon of hope amidst despair. Your silence will be a beacon too, drawing others to God's love. This is your moment to trust that your stillness speaks louder than words. Your silence is a light, illuminating His presence in your life. On this day, your silence is a preparation for breakthrough. God is setting you up for victories you can't yet see, and your stillness ensures you're ready. Think of Joshua, silent as he waited for God's command to shout, his obedience bringing down Jericho's walls. On September 25th, your silence is your waiting, preparing you for God's command to rise. This is your moment to trust that breakthroughs are coming. Your stillness is a foundation, ready for His power to build upon. Your silence is a rebellion against the world's expectations. On September 25th, the world will demand your voice, your reaction, your defense. But your stillness declares that you answer to God alone. Think of Daniel, silent before the king's decree, his faith proving God's power over man's laws. Your silence will prove God's power too, showing the world that His plan prevails. This is your moment to stand apart, to trust His authority over human opinion. Your stillness is a crown, marking you as His chosen. On this sacred day, your silence is a seed for healing. God is restoring what's been broken, and your stillness allows His touch to work deeply. Think of the man at the pool of Bethesda, silent in his waiting, his faith leading to healing after decades of pain. On September 25th, your silence is your waiting, opening the door to God's restoration. This is your moment to trust that He's healing your heart, your body, your dreams. Your stillness is a canvas, ready for His healing hand. Your silence is a declaration of faith in God's timing. On September 25th, by holding your peace, you're trusting that His plan is unfolding perfectly. Think of Anna, silent in her prayers, waiting decades to see the Messiah. Her faith was rewarded in God's time. Your silence will be rewarded too, aligning you with His divine schedule. This is not a day to force outcomes, but to rest in His rhythm. Your stillness is a dance, moving in step with His promises. On this day, your silence is a weapon against division. Think of Nehemiah's workers, silent as they built the wall, their focus defeating their enemies' schemes. On September 25th, your silence will defeat division too, keeping your heart aligned with God's plan. This is your moment to trust that He's uniting what's been torn apart. Your stillness is a bridge, connecting you to His unity. Your silence is a testimony of God's power. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're letting His strength shine through your weakness. Think of Paul, silent in his chains, his faith proclaiming God's glory louder than any sermon. Your silence will proclaim His glory too, showing the world that His power is enough. This is your moment to trust that He's working through your stillness. Your silence is a megaphone, amplifying His strength in your life. On this sacred day, your silence is a seed for divine purpose. God is calling you to a higher mission, and your stillness prepares you to hear His voice. Think of Isaiah, silent before God's throne, his obedience unleashing a prophetic calling. On September 25th, your silence is your preparation, readying you for the mission He's designed. This is your moment to trust that His purpose is unfolding. Your stillness is a foundation, building the path to your destiny. Your silence is a magnet for God's favor. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, you're drawing His blessings like never before. Think of Mordecai, silent in his service, his faith earning him royal favor. Your silence will earn favor too, positioning you for divine promotion. This is your moment to trust that God's eyes are on you, ready to lift you up. Your stillness is a beacon, calling His goodness into your life. On this day, your silence is a rebellion against fear. The enemy wants you to speak doubts, to give voice to anxiety, but your stillness silences his lies. Think of Peter, silent as he stepped onto the water, his faith defying the storm. On September 25th, your silence will defy the storm too, proving that God's power is greater. This is your moment to trust that His truth overcomes every fear. Your stillness is a sword, cutting through the enemy's deception. Your silence is a celebration of God's sovereignty. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're proclaiming that He is in control. Think of Job, silent after his trials, his faith declaring God's authority over all. Your silence will declare His authority too, showing the world that He reigns. This is your moment to trust that His plan is perfect. Your stillness is a crown, marking you as His chosen, walking in His power. On this sacred day, your silence is a seed for miracles. God is ready to move in ways you can't imagine, and your stillness creates space for His power. Think of the blind man, silent as Jesus touched his eyes, his faith leading to sight. On September 25th, your silence will lead to sight too, opening your eyes to God's wonders. This is your moment to trust that he's working beyond what you see. Your stillness is a canvas, ready for his miracles to unfold. Your silence is a testimony of trust. On September 25th, by holding your peace, you're showing the world that you rely on God alone. Think of Hannah, silent in her prayers, her faith birthing a prophet. Your silence will birth something great too, aligning you with God's promises. This is your moment to stand firm, to let your faith speak louder than words. Your stillness is a beacon, shining with his truth. On this day, your silence is a preparation for elevation. God is lifting you to new heights, and your stillness ensures you're ready. Think of Joseph, silent in the pit, his faith leading to a palace. On September 25th, your silence will lead to your palace too, positioning you for God's promotion. This is your moment to trust that he's raising you up. Your stillness is a foundation, building the path to your destiny. Your silence is a weapon against chaos. On September 25th, as you hold your tongue, you're defeating the disorder that seeks to derail you. Think of Jesus, silent in the storm, his peace calming the waves. Your silence will calm your storms too, bringing order to your life. This is your moment to trust that God's peace is enough. Your stillness is a shield, protecting you from the world's noise. On this sacred day, your silence is a bridge to divine clarity. God is speaking to your heart, and your stillness ensures you hear him. Think of Samuel, silent in the night, his faith opening his ears to God's call. On September 25th, your silence will open your ears too, revealing his plan. This is your moment to trust that his voice is guiding you. Your stillness is a doorway, leading to his wisdom. Your silence is a declaration of faith. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're proclaiming that God's plan is greater than your words. Think of Abraham, silent on the mountain, his trust securing a legacy. Your silence will secure your legacy too, aligning you with God's promises. This is your moment to stand firm, to let your faith shine. Your stillness is a crown, marking you as his chosen. On this day, your silence is a seed for transformation. God is reshaping your life, and your stillness creates space for his work. Think of Jonah, silent in the fish, his obedience sparking revival. On September 25th, your silence will spark revival too, changing your life and others. This is your moment to trust that he's working in you. Your stillness is a canvas, ready for his transformation. Your silence is a magnet for divine provision. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, God is pouring out blessings beyond measure. Think of the widow, silent as she followed Elisha, her faith filling her jars with oil. Your silence will fill your life too, with God's abundance. This is your moment to trust that his supply is coming. Your stillness is a vessel, ready for his overflow. On this sacred day, your silence is a testimony of resilience. By choosing not to react, you're showing that you've overcome every trial through God's strength. Think of Job's wife, silent in her suffering, her faith leading to restoration. Your silence will lead to restoration too, proving God's faithfulness. This is your moment to stand strong, to let your faith speak. Your stillness is a story written by his hand. Your silence is a rebellion against the world's noise. On September 25th, the world will demand your voice, but your stillness declares your trust in God. Think of Daniel, silent before the lions, his faith proving God's power. Your silence will prove his power too, silencing every distraction. This is your moment to stand apart, to trust his plan. Your stillness is a crown, marking you as his chosen. On this day, Your silence is a seed for legacy. God is building something eternal through your obedience, something that will bless generations. Think of Sarah, silent in her waiting, her faith birthing a nation. On September 25th, your silence is birthing your legacy too, aligning you with God's purpose. This is your moment to trust that He's working beyond you. Your stillness is a foundation, building His eternal plan. Your silence is a weapon of discernment. On September 25th, as you hold your tongue, you're sharpening your spiritual vision. Think of Nehemiah, silent as he surveyed the ruins, his faith revealing God's plan. Your silence will reveal His plan too, guiding your steps. This is your moment to trust that His truth is clear. Your stillness is a lens, focusing His light in your life. On this sacred day, your silence is a celebration of God's faithfulness. By choosing not to speak, you're proclaiming that His promises never fail. Think of Zechariah, silent after doubting, his faith restored through his son's birth. Your silence will restore your faith too, aligning you with God's truth. This is your moment to stand firm, to let your trust shine. Your stillness is a song, praising His unchanging love. Your silence is a gateway to divine peace. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, you'll find a calm that anchors your soul. Think of Jesus, silent in the boat, His faith calming the storm. Your silence will calm your storms too, bringing rest to your heart. This is your moment to trust that His peace is enough. Your stillness is a harbor, sheltering you in His presence. On this day, your silence is a seed for divine connections. God is bringing people into your life who will walk with you in His purpose. Think of Ruth, silent in Boaz's field, her faith forging a divine bond. On September 25th, your silence will forge bonds too, drawing God's chosen into your path. This is your moment to trust His orchestration. Your stillness is a magnet, pulling His plan into place. Your silence is a testimony of God's power. On September 25th, by choosing not to react, you're letting His strength shine through you. Think of Paul, silent in his chains, his faith proclaiming God's glory. Your silence will proclaim His glory too, showing His might. This is your moment to trust that He's working in you. Your stillness is a megaphone, amplifying His strength. On this sacred day, your silence is a preparation for breakthrough. God is setting you up for victories, and your stillness ensures you're ready. Think of Joshua, silent before Jericho, his faith bringing down walls. On September 25th, your silence will bring down walls too, opening doors to His promises. This is your moment to trust that breakthroughs are coming. Your stillness is a foundation, ready for His power. Your silence is a rebellion against fear. On September 25th, the enemy will try to make you speak doubts, but your stillness silences his lies. Think of Peter, silent on the water, his faith defying the storm. Your silence will defy storms, too, proving God's power. This is your moment to trust that His truth overcomes fear. Your stillness is a sword, cutting through deception. On this day, your silence is a seed for miracles. God is ready to move, and your stillness creates space for His wonders. Think of the blind man, silent as Jesus touched him, his faith leading to sight. On September 25th, your silence will lead to sight too, revealing His miracles. This is your moment to trust that He's working beyond you. Your stillness is a canvas, ready for His wonders. Your silence is a declaration of trust. On September 25th, by holding your peace, you're proclaiming that God is enough. Think of Hannah, silent in her prayers, her faith birthing a prophet. Your silence will birth greatness too, aligning you with his plan. This is your moment to stand firm, to let your faith shine. Your stillness is a beacon, shining with his truth. On this sacred day, your silence is a preparation for elevation. God is lifting you up, and your stillness ensures you're ready. Think of Joseph, silent in the pit, his faith leading to a palace. On September 25th, your silence will lead to your palace too, positioning you for his promotion. This is your moment to trust that he's raising you. Your stillness is a foundation, building your destiny. Your silence is a weapon against chaos. On September 25th, as you hold your tongue, you're defeating the disorder that seeks you. Think of Jesus, silent in the storm, his peace calming the waves. Your silence will calm your storms too, bringing order to your life. This is your moment to trust that his peace is enough. Your stillness is a shield, protecting you from noise. On this day, your silence is a bridge to divine clarity. God is speaking, and your stillness ensures you hear him. Think of Samuel, silent in the night, his faith opening his ears to God's call. On September 25th, your silence will open your ears too, revealing his plan. This is your moment to trust that his voice is guiding you. Your stillness is a doorway, leading to his wisdom. Your silence is a declaration of faith. On September 25th, by choosing not to speak, you're proclaiming that God's plan is greater. Think of Abraham, silent on the mountain, his trust securing a legacy. Your silence will secure your legacy too, aligning you with his promises. This is your moment to stand firm, to let your faith shine. Your stillness is a crown, marking you as his chosen. On this sacred day, your silence is a seed for transformation. God is reshaping your life, and your stillness creates space for his work. Think of Jonah, silent in the fish, his obedience sparking revival. On September 25th, your silence will spark revival too, changing your life and others. This is your moment to trust that he's working in you. Your stillness is a canvas ready for his transformation. Your silence is a magnet for divine provision. On September 25th, as you hold your peace, God is pouring out blessings beyond measure. Think of the widow, silent as she followed Elisha, her faith filling her jars with oil. Your silence will fill your life too, with God's abundance. This is your moment to trust that his supply is coming. Your stillness is a vessel, ready for his overflow. On this day, your silence is a testimony of resilience. By choosing not to react, you're showing that you've overcome through God's strength. Think of Job's wife, silent in her suffering,